Ivan, that is the sound of shiny paint.
Exactly. I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail. Today we're going to take this beautiful shiny Corvette, just amp up the gloss a couple notches.
Shiny could always be shinier.
Right, and this Corvette, basically new, it's got 2,000 miles on it, garage kept, beautiful shape, but we just want to give it that little extra gloss that makes it pop.
If you're like me, you didn't grow up with a rotary in your hand. If you're not like me, listen to Ivan all the time. But for the youngins out there,
right,
at least younger than you, we were marketed to that the dual action polisher was the way to cut and finish because it's
right,
so easy to use for a beginner.
Right.
We're gonna show you today how to utilize a rotary with the jeweling pad to get amazing shine and gloss.
Amazing shine and gloss, and anyone can do it. When I teach, I always start people off with the rotary, and then they graduate to the dual action.
Let's get to polishing, Ivan, but before we do, can we talk about why rotary is actually the thing that you prefer to finish with?
Well, first of all, the comfort. Less vibration, it's quieter. You heard it in the intro, they barely make any noise. This is not a loud polisher in any way.
And wait, can we hear the sound of the trigger lock as well? Because I know you love that.
So trigger lock is really easy to use, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, it just falls to hand.
That little red button is so intuitive. So you turn it on speed 1, you put the trigger lock on, and it's a smooth machine, it's a quiet machine, and the paint likes that smooth motion of the machine.
The smooth motion, and also you don't work using this. You're just guiding the machine. If you're ham-fisted and are trying to hold onto it, it's gonna jump all over the place. This is how I hold my machine, 2 fingers.
Can I try to do that pose with you here?
Yeah. So yeah, the corny pose might end up being the thumbnail. But basically, I have 1 finger wrapped around the cord and 1 under here. And when we designed this polisher, I had a say in the design. Therefore, we have this nice little divot here to make it easy to just hold on to it with a finger.
Oh, that's the Ivan finger hole. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense to me now.
Just makes it easy to guide the machine. I'm not holding onto it. And I'm using the trigger lock all the time. Because if you're squeezing the trigger, that basically locks your wrist and locks your elbow, and now your range of movement is greatly reduced. By using the trigger lock, I can hold it like this, I can hold it like that, I can hold it like this, I can hold it like that. There's a lot of different ways. It weighs a little under 6 pounds, so it's not a heavy machine.
I'm gonna tell you 2 things. One, if you want this polisher or the polishing pads, bottom left of your screen, there's a little products tab. If you have your own rotary out there, this will work just fine. So yes, we sell these, but the reality is a rotary spins in one direction. The jeweling pad and the polish here are the secret sauce for this method, in my opinion.
And low speed, because some rotaries are way up there. So we want to stay at 800 RPM or less. This is at 600 RPM.
On speed 1, on the lowest speed.
Yep. So the lowest speed. 2500 is the maximum speed, great for cleaning the pads. But in between the two, as far as I'm concerned, this could have just been a 2-speed switch.
How do we decide that we're just going to polish this with rotary jeweling? Because in the previous video, which I'll put a link to in the description below, we washed it and decontaminated it.
Right. This has beautiful gloss already. It has no marring on it whatsoever. It just has it look like it's hazy.
Yep.
But there's no scratches, there's no marring, there's none of that. It's only been washed once and garage kept, driven only on nice days, meaning that there wasn't any grit on this. He brought it to us, we washed it, we were decontaminating more than we were washing because the wash portion of it was basically clean when it got here.
Some people ask, do I need to polish before I put a ceramic coating on? And one reason I like to recommend polishing is it just cleans the paint a little bit. So if you want to ensure you're cleaning your paint, you don't know if it has scratches, you don't feel comfortable going after scratches, this is something you could do. Just let's leave out the ceramic coating. You could wash decon and do this polish job and just clean and shine your paint up. Doesn't mean you can never touch your paint again. We're taking off just the slightest amount of clear coat here, so it's a very safe process as well.
Yeah, and for those of you watching from different countries other than the USA, this is just an abrasive. A lot of people think a polish is a wax. This is not a wax, this is an abrasive. There leaves no protection behind on the paint.
So Ivan, I know we usually do a test spot on the hood. This isn't really a test spot because we're just gonna full send it with the rotary and we know we're gonna do something, right?
Right, we know we don't need full on, hours and hours of correction. We just need to make the paint look better. And to do so, I'm gonna start by cleaning my pad. Once my pad is clean and not dried out, but it's just barely damp, one spray of the gold standard polish on the pad is all I need. I have thousands of little drops of polish now on the pad. They're very happy. They're where they're supposed to be. Cord over the shoulder, so we're not dragging it on the vehicle. Speed 1. I don't need to go any higher than that. And again, no pressure on the machine. I'm just here to guide it. That's all I'm doing. Now the waffle pad takes in these body lines with ease. And the Corvette has some very pronounced body lines. Now it's got a vinyl stripe down the center. We're going to polish that vinyl stripe since it is a gloss vinyl stripe. Now if it were a matte vinyl stripe, I'd be staying away. As well, if you don't like bending over like I'm doing, you can actually stand up straight and just use one hand with this. It's just as easy. This is a relatively low car, so.
What's your best tip for polishing with a rotary, Ivan?
Relax. Again, if you're trying to hold on to it, you can hear the sound change, and it's difficult to control. And that's just because I put a little bit of weight. I'm putting just the weight of my hand, and now it becomes like it's wanting to jump around, difficult to control. If I take that weight off, now I have a very easy, simple to maneuver machine. Nothing more difficult than that. Then, we need to wipe off the polish residue. I'm using a rinseless dampened towel. Don't have a bucket handy, so we have a very easy way of doing it. We have rinseless wash in our pad washer, diluted 256:1. Get the towel just a little damp with that, wring it out. Because we don't want it wet, we just want it damp. And a low nap towel is best. And then from there, take our towel on the lowest nap side, and lightly go over the surface. No pressure is required. I'm letting the rinseless do the work for me. It's emulsifying those polishing oils, breaking them down, providing lubrication. Then I take my nice fluffy towel, come by, and dry the surface. And we've given a lot of clarity to the paint. Like we mentioned before, it's sort of hazy or fuzzy looking. Now we have a lot more clarity and gloss.
Ivan, where do you like to start on the vehicle when you're polishing?
Either the hood or the roof. If it's a low vehicle like this, the roof is actually my preferred spot. I wanted to do a little test spot on the hood because it's the one that we see the most. And normally, the owner of this car is driving around with the top down. But thankfully, actually, we've already polished the hood, so we're good to go. We can either start at the front, work our way back, start at the top, work our way down. It makes no big difference. There's no right way, there's no wrong way.
Ivan, I kind of like the method of leaving the polish on the paint, because you know me and methodical, they don't always mix. I'm working on it. But the reality is, if I can see where I've polished, that's actually very helpful.
Okay.
For me.
For me, I know that I've done a panel, I move on. But just out of force of habit, it really makes no difference. Whichever is your preference, go that way. So Nick's gonna wipe off. At the end, I'm gonna wipe off as I go.
So Ivan, we're polishing this area, and it occurred to me, a lot of folks may not know what this is called because it's such a unique body here. You were saying this is called the flying buttress.
Right, this little triangular piece that borders the window on both sides and does the separation. So it makes it look like a fastback, when in reality it's a notchback with a flying buttress.
Do you like flying buttress?
They're cool.
They're cool. I love this car. It is an honor to work on this car, knowing the owner drove to Kentucky and loves it so much, and
yeah,
he's gonna have paint protection film over this, but he wants it shiny underneath.
Exactly.
Ivan, can you describe what it's like to go over different panels and nooks and undulations with the rotary?
Yeah, it's basically just following your rotary. Let it do the work, and it's very easy to control a rotary simply by raising and lowering the handle. So if I raise the handle, it goes this way. If I lower the handle, it goes that way. Now those are like exaggerated movements, but basically I just take it slow and let the machine do the work. So very light movements on my part, allows me to control the machine quite easily. And again, the less you're trying to hold onto it, the smoother it is going to be. Well, Nick, what do you think?
Amazing.
The Corvette gonna replace the Subaru?
I love this car. Ask the owner, Ivan.
Well, I don't think the child seats will fit in the back, but because there is no back.
Yeah, that rotary it doesn't remove deep stuff, but there were a couple of things that I wondered if I'd have to compound out, and a few passes with the rotary jeweling pad really improved the surface. So if you think the rotary jeweling pad doesn't do anything that's wrong, it does enough to still be safe, but man, this paint just looks fantastic.
Right, we've definitely amped up the gloss. Now, both Nick and I are resisting the temptation to break out the bottles of coating and start coating this. It is just beautiful, and now's the time to do it. But it has to go to get a bit of PPF on it. The front end is getting covered in PPF, the track pack as they call it, so the lowers, the mirrors, things like that. When it comes back, we're actually going to be putting C6 diamond gloss on it, which will amp up the gloss dramatically and give it a long-lasting, well, actually lifetime coating. Nick, speaking of coatings, is there another video they should be watching?
Oh my goodness. If you're like, why aren't you coating this? Head on over to here. We'll give you a step-by-step guide on how to lay down a ceramic coating, amping up this gloss for years of protection.